So is it ever okay to add effects, such as say chorus delay or reverb, to the sub-bass frequencies? Whilst there are exceptions, almost certainly you don't want to. Time-based effects like this will always make it messier. Let me show you on Reverb. Adding effects like this means you're basically layering things. In this case, layering some reverb on top of the normal sound. There's a dry-wet mix. But it's really a layer. More about that in a few minutes though. Layering aside, which of course we want to avoid, it also just messes up the sound. When you create sub-bass clean, anything you do to it makes it messier, less focused, less clean and precise and functional, less efficient at delivering energy. Let me show you an example here. So on this reverb here in Serum, for a preset I made, we have this low cut. What this does is filter the lowest frequencies, basically saying, do we allow the low frequencies to go through the reverb or not? With no low cut, the sub-bass goes through the reverb, but with low cut, the sub-bass doesn't go through the reverb. So here, the harmonics have reverb, giving this small room effect. A small room reverb tail. But if we didn't have the low cut, and therefore allowed the sub-bass frequencies through the reverb, it makes the sub-bass more rumbly, more messy, less focused, which can be extremely easy to miss. I mean, did you hear the difference? On the face of it, most people wouldn't hear the difference, but they will feel the difference subconsciously. Let me show you this low pass so you can more clearly hear what's going on. Did you hear the difference? Did you hear that reverb tail from the sub-bass? Remember, this is a low cut, so basically determining can the sub-bass go through the reverb or not. With no low cut, the sub-bass is going through the reverb, but with low cut, the sub-bass isn't going through the reverb. Notice how the reverb therefore messes it up a bit. Not necessarily in a bad way, if you like that rumbly effect, but very definitely adding a tail and making it messier. Time-based effects will always make the sub messier. It's adding this reverb tail. Which in fact I can show you. This guy here. By itself, not a big deal, but let me show you what is a big deal. Here we have a loop I made for a sample pack a few years ago, and there's a big mistake in it. Easy to miss, but a mistake nonetheless. As you can imagine, the mistake is with the sub-bass frequencies, which I can show you with a low-pass filter. Now, hopefully you can hear the mistake. Did you hear it? Did you hear the mistake? The clue was the previous example and that reverb tail. So there's an unhelpful reverb tail. Can you see it? Can you hear it? What if I told you this was one note? There's a pitch bend in it, but this is one note, and this is a different note, a second note. One note, two notes. Can you now guess where the problem is, where that unwanted reverb tail is? Hopefully you spotted where the problem is, and the problem is here. I suppose, yes, mostly here, where the second note comes in. So this is one note with everything going through the reverb. The second note then happens, but there's still some reverb tail from the first note. In other words, at this moment in time, we're layering sub-bass. We have the new note and some reverb from the previous note, some reverb from the sub-bass, causing that rumble. And in fact, if you look on the spectrum analyzer, you can actually see what's happening. Look at the peaks, and hopefully you can see which bits are reverb. The reverb sort of bounces around. In fact, if you look where my mouse is now, yes, so on that point at the start of bar 11, can you see what looks like a peak falling? A peak from the original note, basically reverb from the first note, from the first sub-bass note, falling down where my mouse is now, somewhere down here. So at this moment in time, you can literally see this in a spectrum analyzer. There are two notes happening at the same time. We're layering sub-bass, and that's why it's rumbly. It's messy and rumbly because we're unintentionally layering low end. That's it. That's the reason. That's why it sounds messy. It's not messy for no reason. It's messy because we're layering low end. In this case, by accident, because we've been careless with the reverb tails. Notice how there's no reverb tail, so no unintentional layering at the beginning. You can literally see this in a spectrum analyzer if you look closely, as well as hearing it. It's important to hear this too, so you can spot when things are rumbly. It's not the rumble's always bad. You can sometimes use it creatively, and sometimes you might want a messy mix. Sometimes you might quite look forward to that sort of messy, unfocused energy. So in that case, rumble's fine. But normally, you probably don't want to do so. Normally, that doesn't add creatively to the track. If it's not adding creatively to the track, don't do it. It's literally a spectrum from clean to messy. On the one hand, clean with no effects, no layering, and on the other end, lots of effects, lots of layering, and therefore messy and rumbly. Different genres sit at different points on the spectrum, but this is why it happens. Layering causes the rumbliness. In this case, layering because of an intentional reverb. Think about it, piece things together. If it's rumbly, there'll be something layering in an undesirable way. And so find the source of the problem and fix it. Thanks for watching.